Hello and welcome to Hornbill TV's News Pulse. I'm your host Akivito. In the unfortunate incident where the Chakasang Mission Center Church was engulfed in a massive fire in Pfutsero early on Monday morning is suspected to have occurred due to a short circuit. The OC of Phek fire station informed Hornbill TV that he spoke to the pastor as soon as he heard about the fire, but was advised not to send the fire brigade as the fire was already doused. He informed that the fire station is 67 kilometers away and is the only fire station for the entire district of Phek. He added that they were on the way to the site but returned back as the fire was already put out. No loss of life was reported, while estimated loss of property is yet to be ascertained, the OC informed. And now to talk more on this matter, we've got the OC of Chosba Police Station, Sir Medoso Yoho, who's going to be joining us. And we will be talking more about this incident and also the difficulties that both sides, civilians and also the law enforcers, face when situations like this arise. Sir, so first of all, thank you so much. Aro moi sida question de ayo munja do. Sir, ajila incident la upor de time de kiman huise aro fire station can be informed kurina ja time de ena khobor pa time de ta can be kina react kurise. Itula olop details dibo paribo.
Morning the 4 baje phale koita kise, but of course it is not under my jurisdiction. Already khobor hunia sabte to 4 baje phale ase koita kise.
Acha sir.
There is no fire service station in the subdivision. It is 2 hours journey from the district headquarters. And early in the morning, what a little, we all delay with each so fire service can do a little already fire a little complete with this.
Acha. So 2011 laga census te Phek laga district te 1.63 lakh population as. तो अपनी लगा हिसाब ते भी ये तो 1.63 civilians of Phek करने एक ता fire station थका दो इतो दो is this a good sign or is this a bad sign? आरो अपनी खान भी इन्हें का difficulties face की face करे?
Geographically, district headquarters de एक ताई हुआ तो ले तो inconvenience भी पाए आरो fire station का information तो दिए भी timely punchable road condition can be aro distance can be important as aro fire to ek bar shuru ho chukole to it doesn't wait, so subdivision can be thakile to beshi baldo balake subdivision ke to fire service can to na thake to usually nika incident ho chukole to if the civil police and then the public ekilo ko he milikene he provided sufficient water to manually dose of preparation completely burned out to HSC.
अच्छा सर तो सर इतने नोएग ना एक ताई खाली एक ता फायर स्टेशन है से इतु ऊपर दे इतु फायर स्टेशन दे भी खाली एक ता फायर टेंडर नोएले एक ता फायर ट्रक ही है से तो सब इन्हें का जुई खान हुई गिना तो फायर ब्रिगेड खान भी टाइम दे नुपुंचले फायर ब्रिगेड खान ना भी गलतींस ना पब्लिक खान बा माने इतु पीछे दे फायर ब्रिगेड ला मुकान ला फायर वर्कर्स खान भी ताखान ला दुख थाके तो इतु प्रॉब्लम तो किन का एक ता मजूद दे एक ता बैलेंस रखियो पारियो इतु
regarding fire services इतु खान तो ले तो हम खान डिपार्टमेंट तो ले तो ने जिनी खान ला से तो खान लगा गाड़ी के मन से और मैन पावर स्ट्रेंथ के मन से हम खान भी इतु तो ना जाने
अच्छा
already they can have that ito to leto kubo pa working to department can be of course problem to thakya to kiki to thakibo
this time though 67 kilometers we say दूर दे next time तो मेलेरुई फाली भी किबा ना जोई हुई से गुले तो फेकते थका हेडक्वार्टर्स लाई तो फायर ब्रिगेड खान किमान टाइम दे पुंजो ना मेलुरी दो
Melury is around 66-7 kilometers from Phek town.
Yes sir.
Aro Melury, under Melury subdivision, Melury is the nearest village. Aro Melury subdivision to leto say the farthest place to leto Avankun, which is the international situated at international boundary there. It is 136 kilometers away from Melury town. And it takes 6 to 7 hours for light vehicles. Yes. And for heavy vehicles, it will take 9 to 10 hours. So if any fire incident happens, then there is no question of reaching the location in time. From Phek headquarters to Pongkuri, Avangkunenikate,
Yes, sir.
it will take 12 hours
All right, sir.
for heavy vehicle. So, itu to leto fast service kan punci kenene, joy to metabole. There is itu to leto out of question ase itu.
अच्छा तो सर इनी एनगा आसे कुले तो पब्लिक इतु अवंखु खांदे थाका पोंखुरी सब डिवीजन मेलुरी खांदे थाका जुई हुइसे कुले तो ताखान तो गवर्नमेंट के तो डिपेंड करवा ना पारिबो ना
Yeah. Information to DLB fire services kan to leto. Ene 12 hours picture to punci kule to leto. Itu to leto. Ten kuri bole kothai na tate.
अच्छा सर थैंक यू सो मच सर अपनी ला टाइम दिया दो और इमान बिजी था टाइम देवी होली अपनी मोखा नो दे कोथा कुरा दो बिशी खुशी पाइसे so I appreciate it and I really thank you so much for talking to Hornbill TV. So that was Sir Medoso, who is the officer in charge and also the inspector of Chuzwa police station, and like we just heard that if in Phek district in the places like Avangku, which is the extreme boundary and also borders the Myanmar border, which is also the Indian Myanmar border, if that place catches a fire, then there is no chance for a government or rather the fire brigade coming to douse the fire there. So the public in those areas are left helpless. So now the only thing that the administration needs to do is if they could also have fire stations in subdivisions closer to everywhere, because in Nagaland the road conditions is a matter of big concern, and that is the topmost difficulty that all emergency services, they face this problem of reaching the location on time. So that will be another hurdle that the administration should have to pass, so that proper services are provided to all the people without any differences, and they should be getting equal services like they get in urban centers. We just spoke to the OC of Chuzwa police station, Sir Medoso, and now live with Hornbill TV, it's EAC Dr. Riku, who is also the EAC of Pfutsero town. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on this platform, so that we would be wanting to know more information about the recent fire that happened today in the early morning in Pfutsero, and also the issues relating to this. So thank you so much for joining with us.
Okay.
What I wanted to ask, what are the general norms or what are the legalities that the administration needs to undergo to actually have or build more fire stations in and around districts?
One thing that we can do is, of course, to apprise the government
Yes.
of the need to have more fire stations in the district,
Yes, sir.
and particularly in Pfutsero, because the incident happened this morning in Pfutsero.
Yes, sir.
Besides that, I think I have to say that a fire substation is coming up in Pfutsero,
All right, sir.
which has been commissioned. The project has been commissioned under NEC.
All right, sir.
Last maybe it was 2-3 years back,
All right,
but
sir.
it is due to fund constraints and also because of the pandemic, the project has been left like that pending.
All
But
right.
it is hopefully hopeful to be completed by this year.
Okay, sir.
That's what I have gathered information.
So, sir, what I also wanted to ask was, does the setting up of a fire station and also with fire trucks, does this depend on the population density of the village, or rather, what are the different factors that varies when you have to set up a fire station?
Definitely, yes. The density of population should be a requirement
All right.
for setting up fire stations. It is an essential service. Where some places where there are less population, I think the requirement may be a little less, but a place, be it a subdivision, where there is more population, I think definitely requires a fire station.
All right. So I was just
That's a matter of right.
All right. So I was just speaking to the OC of Chuzwa police station, Sir Medoso, and we were talking about this issue. If there is a fire incident in, like, say, the subdivision of Meluri, or even if we'll go even further, we'll reach Avnaku. So if there are incidences like this, then isn't the people of Avnaku or rather Meluri helpless, because fire truck is never going to get there on time?
Definitely. This morning, the incident here in Pfutsero happened around 3:30. Authorities were alerted around 3:30.
All right, sir.
But we could never get the services of the fire machine engines.
All right, sir.
Because the distance from Phek to Pfutsero is about in between 60 to 70 kilometers.
Yes, sir.
And when the truck is fully loaded with water,
Yes, sir.
it cannot run in its full speed. So in the matter of 2-3 hours, as we just imagine, the damages would be beyond control.
All right. So in the morning, it was reported that there were no casualties. So when the administration reached there, does this fact still remain the same, or has it changed? Was there any casualties, sir, in the fire that happened?
No, there was no casualty as such.
All right, sir.
But the damage to the property was immense.
All right.
I should say.
All right, so let's talk about something more positive. I mean, like, what could be done from also the public side too? Because, like, in cases like this, there could be a lot of blame game happening. You know, the public would blame the administration because they don't have enough equipment, or rather, even the administration, they also are suffering because they are also having a lack of manpower. So, moving forward, if there are future incidences like this, what could be done so that the people get adequate emergency services?
I was at the ground zero this morning,
Right,
around 4 a.m. in the morning, and though I was there, I was so helpless.
Right.
I represented the government,
Right, sir.
but I was helpless because the fire was too big,
Right,
and though people were around, only people with buckets.
Yes, sir.
Beyond that, there was no facility to contain the fire.
Right.
So it was such a painful experience.
Right.
And in a place like Pfutsero, where there is no fire station,
Yes, sir.
and where the density of population is quite big, I think on the part of the public, yes, as and when issues like these come up, I think the cooperation, the active response of the people is important. But like I was just mentioning, the cooperation and the participation of the public doesn't suffice to respond to such a big disaster. At the end of the day, we need fire engines and fire services to respond.
So does that mean that in the future incidences like this can be avoided?
No. It is a disaster can happen anytime,
True, sir.
anywhere. It cannot be predicted. So I think the government should also maybe try to strategize locations where fire engines should be, fire stations should be set up.
Right,
for example, you were just mentioning about Sazoba, Meluri,
yes, sir.
and so the radius of fire services is Phek. So from there, if it has to respond to Sazoba in a matter of 3-4 hours, into Pfutsero in a matter of another 2 hours, 3 hours,
yes, sir.
the same with Meluri, and the response time in that period of time, a lot of damages, a lot of casualties can happen. So I think planning on the part of the government, during the location and the distance will be very important.
All right. So my last question to you would be this. I mean, like, we have had so many instances where, like, the fire trucks are already running, but they can never reach on time. So do you think that connectivity and the condition of the roads also plays a big role in providing quick emergency services?
Definitely. And I think it is impossible, even in a very well set up place in like Kohima and Dimapur also,
yes, sir.
To respond, to have a very quick response to disasters.
Yes. All right.
Kohima and Dimapur for reasons like traffic and other issues, but in a place, in remote places like Pfutsero and other districts,
yes, sir.
For that matter, Phek is the second largest district in the entire state now. So for the fire engine in Phek to respond to the remote places,
yes,
considering the road, the distance, I think is not practical. For that matter, if there was a fire station in Pfutsero also,
true, sir.
To respond to the town area, urban area is okay. But even from Pfutsero station to respond to the villages, remote villages, yes, will be a very big problem. So I think I don't think we have a quick solution to all these problems in a way.
All right, sir. So thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time to take this time out and actually explain to us the ground situation and the ground reality, and also what are some of the problems that you all are facing. So I really appreciate it, and sir, thank you so much for joining with us. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So that was Dr. Riku, who is the EAC of Pfutsero, and he has just explained to us that for a state like Nagaland and also for a district like Phek, because of the roads and also because of the locality and the situation, or rather the distance between the villages, it is very kind of impossible to actually reach there and give quick emergency services whenever disasters like this happen. But he also spoke about the cooperation, but in the end, even cooperation is a mighty tool less to actually handle such big calamities. Like Sir was saying, it was a painful experience for him, even though he was in the ground and he was actually there when the fire was taking place. He felt helpless, even though being a government officer. So we can just imagine how the other public were actually feeling. And also on the other matter, like if in Meluri or Avnaku, if situations like this arise, then emergency services that the government should be providing will not be actually feasible, and which will then leave the public helpless, and they would need to rather work amongst themselves and try and solve the situation, because by the time the emergency services reach, the casualties would have increased, the damage would have increased. So it is more about the cooperation, and it's all about staying together and fighting it out together when such calamities occur.